Wow, Steelers Nation, hold on tight because the day is on fire. This is Jack Romano, and let me tell you, the training camp in Latrobe just became a pressure cooker. Aaron Rodgers had a major scare, Carson Wentz is circling Pittsburgh, there's an insane rumor involving Tyreek Hill, and a surprising decision just caught a veteran off guard. All of this in less than 24 hours, and only here will you get the full scoop. The question is, are we looking at a team ready to go all in, or one on the verge of imploding? But before we dive into the details of these bombshells that just dropped on the Steelers, do me a quick favor. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and smash the like button. This keeps our Steel Curtain pride alive and ensures Steelers Nation stays united and strong, always with you. Look, folks, if there's one thing that keeps any fan up at night, it's seeing your starting quarterback limping at practice, especially when that quarterback goes by the name of Aaron Rodgers. It was the last day of training camp in Latrobe, and the vibe was pretty chill until, in a flash, rookie Troy Fautanu was pushed by a defensive lineman and ended up stepping on the four-time MVP's left foot and ankle. You can feel that chill down your spine, right? Rodgers was there, flexing his calf, putting ice on it, then switched to a lighter bandage. He returned to the drills but didn't seem 100% fluid in his passes, which leaves everyone with a nagging feeling. ESPN's Brooke Pryor even commented that he was moving well, but you could tell he wasn't at his usual pace. And look, that's a big deal, because we already had a scare last week with rookie Will Howard injuring his hand, keeping him out of the first preseason game against the Jaguars. 2 quarterbacks on high alert before September even starts. That's not the kind of news you want to hear. Now there is a silver lining. Rodgers didn't leave the field and wasn't held out of drills, which suggests it might just be more of a tweak than a serious injury. But let's be real. With a 41-year-old veteran who just signed a $13.65 million guaranteed contract, you don't want to risk anything. Especially since he's the biggest media draw this offseason and the team's major offensive bet. And the season opener is against his former team, the New York Jets, at MetLife Stadium. Imagine the weight of that reunion and what it would mean to start the season without him at full strength. This messes not only with the tactical plan, but also with the morale of the fans and the locker room. That's why his every move is being scrutinized with a magnifying glass, and any sign of discomfort becomes a hot topic on every Terrible Towel Nation forum. The analysis here is clear. This isn't a moment for panic, but it is a moment for maximum attention. The coaching staff needs to balance physical conditioning with QB preservation, because one wrong step now could be costly in December. And hey, if you think that was the only bombshell of the day, just hold on, because the next topic could completely change the quarterback room in Pittsburgh. And it's precisely because of these uncertainties that the name of Carson Wentz is starting to gain traction in the hallways of Pittsburgh. And this isn't just a barstool rumor. This is hot locker room talk. The guy is on the market, has 9 seasons under his belt, and a recent stint with the Kansas City Chiefs. He may not be that undisputed starter anymore, but look, as an insurance policy, he's a heck of an option. First, because the franchise has cap space and can afford the estimated $1.9 million per year without compromising other moves. Second, his profile matches what the coaching staff values: reading the game under pressure, locker room leadership, and the ability to quickly adapt to a playbook. And let's face it, with Rodgers dealing with a tweak and leg discomfort and Will Howard temporarily out of commission, having a guy like Wentz ready to step in could be the difference between keeping the season alive or watching it all go down the drain. Internally, the view is clear. It's not about taking Rodgers' spot now, but rather about creating healthy pressure and ensuring depth. It's that better safe than sorry logic applied to football. When protected by a solid line, Wentz can effectively exploit the mixed zones of defenses with short and intermediate passes that give rhythm to the offense. And we know that Matt Canada, or rather the philosophy that remained, still prioritizes this balance. Furthermore, his signing wouldn't hamstring the future, because it would be a short, flexible deal. And of course, you can't ignore that a move like this would send a message to the league. Pittsburgh is thinking big, and won't be held hostage by unforeseen events. Now, some people think it's overkill, that it's spending for the sake of spending. But if you look at the recent history of injuries at the position, and remember how a game can change in an instant, it makes sense to have an extra card up your sleeve. Plus, the locker room gets a morale boost when they see management making moves to stay competitive. What I'm seeing here is Omar Khan playing chess, anticipating moves before the season demands desperate solutions. And fan, pay attention. If this happens, it could shake up not only the QB room, but also how the offense is constructed in the coming weeks. And guess what? The next piece of news I have for you involves a potential reinforcement that would make any offensive coordinator lose sleep with excitement. Now, hold on to your hats, because if the Wentz talk is already shaking up the team's structure, just imagine what happens when a rumor involving none other than Tyreek Hill pops up. That's right, Bleacher Report, through the voice of Brent Sobleski, put the Steelers in one of those proposals that leave Steelers Nation divided between euphoria and, is it really worth it? The idea would be to send edge rusher Nick Herbig plus 4th and 7th round picks in 2026 to the Dolphins in exchange for the Cheetah. Just talking about it, you can already feel the buzz in the forums. Hill with DK Metcalf and Aaron Rodgers, my God. In terms of the passing game, it would be pure dynamite. Hill led the league in receiving yards and touchdowns in 2023, has been an All-Pro 5 times, and is known for opening up defenses like few others. Now, combine that with Metcalf's physical strength and Rodgers' experience throwing. My friend, it's a nightmare for opposing secondaries. But like any risky play, there's another side. Herbig is young, 23, productive on a rookie contract, and an important detail, part of an edge rusher rotation that has already proven to be deadly, along with TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Last year, he had 5.5 sacks in just 13 games, and the coaching staff used packages with all three on the field at the same time. Losing that depth could mess with the essence of the defense, and we know that the Steelers' identity always starts on the defensive side of the ball. In addition, Hill is already 31 and carries a heavy contract, which would put two receivers earning over $30 million a year on the roster. It's an all-in move, the kind of bet that either puts you in the Super Bowl or leaves you breathless for the next few drafts. And let's be real, Omar Khan is bold, but he's not reckless. Still, this possibility lights a spark in a fan's imagination because, let's be honest, seeing Hill and Metcalf lined up at Heinz Field would be a spectacle. The dilemma is clear. Reinforce the offense to a nearly unreal level or maintain the defensive depth that has always been the franchise's trademark. And fan, hold on to that curiosity, because if you thought that trade was impactful, the next news coming up will show that even historic contracts don't guarantee a seat in the Steelers' locker room. And to cap off this sequence of shocks, comes a decision no one expected. The Steelers cut DJ Thomas-Jones, that versatile tight end who signed the largest undrafted non-quarterback bonus in franchise history. That's right, the guy arrived as a UDFA from South Alabama, carrying hype and expectations, showing skill as both a receiver and on special teams. The problem is that since the start of training camp, he had been battling injuries. He had a serious scare in late July when they thought he ruptured his Achilles tendon. Miracle or not, he returned to practice on August 3rd, but didn't play in the preseason win over the Jaguars. That already raised a red flag, because when the team believes in the talent but can't count on the player in key moments, patience wears thin. And this isn't about a lack of ability. In college, he had 610 yards and 11 touchdowns, even playing in a less-watched conference. It's about availability. The cut came along with the release of defensive back Cameron McCutcheon, and the replacements were immediate. Tight end Kevin Fulch, who had already been on the roster, and defensive back Mikey Victor. This move shows two things. First, that the Steelers aren't willing to be tied to decisions out of emotional attachment or a signed contract. Second, that the focus now is on having pieces ready to contribute now, no matter the hype. The fans, of course, are divided. Some lament the loss of a raw talent, others understand it as a clear message from management. Either you're ready, or the next man in line gets a shot. And that's Steelers football to the core, my friend. The NFL waits for no one. And it's interesting to note that this is another play that reinforces the idea of roster depth, whether offensive or defensive. They want impactful rotation. They want people who are available and capable of executing the plan. It doesn't matter if it's preseason, practice, or a decisive week. If you're not 100%, the machine keeps turning. And look, after everything we've seen today, Rodgers with a scare at practice, the potential arrival of Wentz, a crazy rumor involving Hill, and now the historic cut of Thomas-Jones, it's clear that this season will be a test not only of talent, but of resilience. And what lies ahead could be even more eventful than what we've already seen. Man, if that was just the warm-up, imagine when the season really starts. Today we saw Rodgers testing the fans' nerves, Wentz circling like a luxury insurance policy, a Hill rumor that could set the offense on fire, and a cut that shows how no one's spot is guaranteed. It's exactly this cauldron that makes Steelers Nation cheer and suffer at the same time. Now I ask you, do you think Khan will pull the trigger on these bombshells, or play it safe? This is the home of Steel Curtain Pride, and next week promises to be even more insane.